Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Millions of Americans do not have the opportunity during COVID-19 to work from home, and this has impacted labor-intensive industry in terms of market cap and employment. Joining me is David Yanez, who's the founder and CEO of Andonix, to discuss the current state of the manufacturing industry, particularly as companies begin to reopen and navigate the balance between employee safety and business continuity. David, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right. Now tell us about Andonix.
Andonix is a technology company that provides solutions to labor-intensive companies. We started with manufacturing about 4 years ago, automating frontline work. We basically empower, enhance, and automate frontline workflows. And obviously, during this pandemic, a lot of the companies that we serve shut down. If they were not essential, they shut down. So basically, our mission became very quickly to help people that don't have the choice to work from home to go back to work safely. And that's where we basically went back to square one and figure out how to help companies stay open and be open with our technology.
That's really quite remarkable how quickly you were able to pivot. How much market cap has been eroded from labor-intensive industries?
We have seen that in the US, in the last 3 months, $1.5 trillion has been wiped from labor-intensive industries. We're talking about industries like oil and gas, automobile manufacturing, hotel, restaurant, leisure, all the industries that have labor-intensive operations. Basically, compared to what they were a year ago, that's how much market cap has been eroded in the last 90 days.
What other trends are you seeing with labor-intensive industries?
The trends that we follow, obviously, is that because they're labor-intensive, they are above the unemployment, the average unemployment in May. We see that all these industries are above the 13.3%. And the challenges are obviously that the workers are also overrepresented by minorities. And that's where we also see a tremendous impact in the base of the pyramid consumer pocket, and obviously a long recovery for that sector of the employment.
Yeah, there certainly has been a lot of attention on that in recent weeks. Part of the issue is millions of Americans don't have the option to work from home. And these industries are those kinds of companies.
That is correct. That is correct. We're talking about that just in America, we are probably over 30 million people that don't have the choice to work from home. And along with those situations, you have that the household debt is at all-time high at 14.3 trillion. So that means that the balance sheet for Americans is maxed out. So the ability to take more debt is obviously going to be in question for next months to come. And consumer confidence is also it's trending in the right direction, but it's not where it was 3 months ago. It's at 78.9%. And we also see new mega trends forging our economy as a lot of people are not commuting. Obviously, energy demand is slowed down. The need to buy a vehicle also has been postponed. And that is kind of what is shaping the recovery for those sectors. And obviously, for people that don't have a choice to work from home, that is definitely something that will create some headwinds to recover that employment and the income levels they were before pandemic.
So David, how do we get back to work safely and automating the new normal for work?
So the challenge is that because of complex supply chains, as we see oil and manufacturing and raw materials are all interconnected, we need to have a distributed effort and distributed wellness and success to be able to distribute the progress and the advance. It's kind of like a win together, lose together type of mentality. But quite honestly, the challenges are that the solutions that we have today are not very easy, simple, and fast to scale. We're basically adapting a new playbook to the industry, And the detection, which is key, and we're talking about three initiatives: detection, prevention, and monitoring. Those are not really at peak levels of capacity. Detection obviously will get super improved once you have testing massively and broadly adopted. Prevention is the end game, is really to have the vaccine. And obviously the monitoring has tremendous challenges, because even if you can detect successfully an infection, that doesn't mean that it's a successful prevention of an outbreak. So those are some of the challenges that we're seeing in companies trying to sustainably protect their workers and be able to increase capacity, because they were not, labor intensive industries were not designed to run two shifts or to have physical distancing. We're talking about density, efficiency, and yield.
Yeah, so it's interesting because even though the government, local, federal, and state governments are allowing us to go back to work, it doesn't mean that we're operating on full capacity or the economy is just going to go back to the way it was in January and February. This is going to take some time, and it's not even just to get us back to where we were, but it's a structural shift that the kinds of companies that you work with are going to have to invest in, and they're going to have to make.
That is correct. Of course, the market demand is what is driving the speed. Obviously, we still have to see the demand that was pre-pandemic. But even though with the levels of inventory that we have for industrials and cyclical, we still see that companies are trying to catch up. And the second bottleneck is really the ability to implement these effectively. Ultimately, supply chains that are complex, like automotive, if the supplier that is manufacturing the bolt that holds the pickup truck bed is not available because they had to shut down because of an outbreak, you're not assembling that vehicle, and you're taking down every single supplier with that. So those are the challenges that we're seeing. Cost is the other challenge. It's very costly to implement these measures. And you're talking about industries that operate on one single digit of profitability. So once they figure out how to do these effectively, the second trend is how do we drive these costs out with efficiencies and productivities? So we still see several challenges, and obviously adapting and automating the new normal is now imminent. It's a necessity.
It certainly is. David, thanks so much for joining us on Trade Talks.
Jill, thank you so much for having me.
All right, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.